Hey everybody, Will with Schedule Fly, and I am very excited today to have John Patterson on the phone. He's in Oklahoma City. He is the chef de cuisine for Provision Concepts, so he's the corporate chef for an awesome organization there. In fact, if you've listened to the podcast, Aaron Soward's been on here before, who is one of the owners at Provision Concepts. Great guy. They have a just incredible organization with a great reputation. And they've got 5 concepts with a total of 6 locations, and they've got a 7th on the way. So, a really good business and a growing business. And John has been kind enough to take some time out of his day to talk to us. So, John, thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So, how? Take me back a little bit. I always like to ask people, how did you get started in hospitality?
Well, I've pretty much been in it my whole life. My older brother got me my first restaurant job when I was 15 at P.F. Chang's. I was a food runner at P.F. Chang's in Tulsa.
Nice.
And just fell in love with it, got addicted to it, loved it. I actually went to school to do meteorology, but could not get past the math. But I've always had that passion for restaurants, and decided that I wanted to make it more of a career than just a job. So I moved down to Austin, went to La Cordon Bleu Culinary School, and then I moved back to Oklahoma, and kind of the rest is history. I've been in kitchens ever since for about 10 years now. So
you've
cool.
You've been in the kitchen since when you. Let me ask you this. I'm just curious. So you were a food runner at an early age, and you loved it. And,
yeah.
I mean, there's something there that's got to click, I think, because being that age and doing that kind of work at a PF Chang's, which is extremely busy, probably exhausting. I think there's just something with folks that are into hospitality that clicks, because you probably found that very exhilarating, I guess. Or what about it did you fall in love with so quickly?
The camaraderie, the hustle, the bustle, just like the nonstop flow. I like all of that. The smells of the kitchen. There's just something about being in a group with the same people. Like when it's controlled chaos is the best way to describe
Controlled
it.
chaos. There you go.
Yeah, there's just so much going on, but it's still flowing like a well-oiled machine. It's really impressive to watch, and I just fell in love with it. So I worked in the front of house for probably 5 or 6 years. I was food runner, and then I hosted a little bit, server, bartender, did all that. I'm pretty big introvert, so dealing with like guest relations on a day-to-day basis was not my forte. So I found a lot more comfort in the kitchen, and I like to cook the food. I liked the science of it. So it was just a natural fit to move back there. So
how long have you been back in the kitchen?
About 10 years.
About 10 years. Okay.
Yep.
What do you enjoy most about what you're doing now?
It's still the people. This is definitely a people game, and I love building relationships. I love like the family and environment that is created in a restaurant. That's by far my favorite thing about the industry.
Yeah, it's interesting. You say you're an introvert, but you don't sound like one, and you love the camaraderie and the people. But maybe that's just. But you find more comfort being in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, restaurants have been good to me. I mean, I met my wife at a restaurant which she worked at as a bartender. Just some of my best friends that were in the wedding. Like it's just it's a family environment. It really is. Like you grow up with these people. So.
Yep.
It's been good to me.
Well, so what does it mean? Like, tell me what your job. I mean, I know there's a million things that go into it, but what are some of the primary responsibilities of a corporate chef in an organization like yours?
Okay, so my job entails creating recipes, creating standards for all of my guys to follow, following up with those standards, creating like a safe work environment, healthy food safety procedures. So I implement all of these, and then I have like my kitchen managers that I hold accountable, and then I will go to store and ensure that all of them's being followed through on a day-to-day basis. Features like wine dinners, special events, I'll make all the custom menus for those. Any new menu changes that we want to do, I spearhead those as well. So
how do you come up?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How do you come up with menu like concepts and ideas? I mean, do you do you travel around a lot, or do you do a lot of research, or what do you draw from?
Do a lot of research.
Yeah.
Sometimes I view food as they do like the fashion world, where there's something just very trendy going on right now, and it's always good to at least know what people are into and try to find your own little niche on that.
Yeah.
I really enjoy taking like classical dishes and like really trying to modernize them and put my own little twist on them. Little stuff like that.
What's an example of
that? So just like tiramisu. Like I don't want to just serve just tiramisu. So made like it's a porterhouse tiramisu. So you take a porterhouse beer, and I steep that with the coffee, and then made a glaze and use that inside of the tiramisu instead of just coffee and sugar. So little stuff like that. Add your own little special kick to it, if you will. So.
Gotcha. Do you have is there a balance between being creative and coming up with new things, as well as doing, I say old things, but things that have been around for a long time and just doing those really, just executing really well?
Oh, absolutely. It's really important to, I'm not here to appease my palate. I'm here to appease everybody's palate. So it's very smart to have, I'll call them safe menu items, things that will work, things that are very profitable, things that people will come back for.
Yeah.
That's your ultimate goal, is to have those on the menu, right? So it's fun to explore and it's fun to branch out, but at the end of the day, you need to be able to reach out to as many different people as you can on one menu.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, for sure. And then you were mentioning different processes like food safety. I mean, that seems like a challenge to me. I don't know a lot about the back of the house, and so I'm just curious about that. I mean, you've got 6, soon to be 7 locations. How do you keep everybody following the right processes and procedures to make sure that all the food safety guidelines and regulations are being met, and things are being done the right way, and that you're avoiding any? I mean, there's just potential every day, every meal for something fairly bad could happen, right? I mean, am I right? Am I right about that?
Oh, absolutely. Like that's the number one focus. Like every day, it has to be. You've got line checks, checks and standards in place for them to follow by. The training has to be on point, and then the follow through. My boss always says, like, everything in the restaurant industry is circular. Like, you have to come back and readdress things that you've pounded into people's heads. Mm-hmm. And you have to keep it fresh, and you have to show the importance of it. And that's so true. Everyone, you never know who's not on their A game that day, So someone might want to cut a corner, and you have to be there to find it. So,
do you have a lot of checklists?
Oh yeah, there's a master checklist for every restaurant, and then every restaurant has 10 or so different ones that are unique to them as well. But the main ones for me is the line check, because I can do everything from that. I can tell if they're rotating their food. I can tell if their dates are up to date, their temperatures are being met, how they're warming their food up. I can do it all from that one line check.
Well, yeah, I asked that because I read this book once called The Checklist Manifesto, and it was by a surgeon, and he was just talking about, it was really interesting. He was saying how all of the, like so many diseases are spread in hospitals, and it's because something basic like, somebody on one team member didn't wash their hands or properly sanitize. And he was talking about how checklists are so important, but a lot of hospitals don't want to put them in because it's basic stuff. It's like, yeah, I already know that. I know I need to wash my hands. But his point was when when you're in a long 12-hour shift and you're going from room to room and you're dealing with all these different things and there's all this kind of, chaos happening, that no matter how smart you are, you'll forget things. And they went around and started implementing these checklists, and all these hospitals that they did, the number of accidental diseases that were spread or viruses that were spread went down like dramatically. But they still have a hard time getting people to just follow a checklist because it's, yeah, I know these things, right? So,
right.
Is there some of that goes on too? Like, I know that I need to do this. I know that I need. I mean, I guess that's kind of what you're referring to. You kind of have to beat them over the head with it, even though you've already been trained on it.
Exactly. Well, and another element to add to that is, think about how many directions you're being pulled at one time in one restaurant. Yeah. So you started a line check. Someone's coming to you about something else, and you stop to talk about them. Well, if you don't finish the line check, you stopped that very important element of keeping people safe and healthy. And
yep.
So you can refer back to the line check. If you didn't do a line, if you were just going to look at the food and someone stops you and you weren't doing the line check, then you'd forget to go back to it or something like that. You know what I mean? So yep. It's good. It's good for that element as well.
Gotcha. What's the toughest part about what you do, John?
The toughest part, I don't know. I love everything, all the aspects that are probably still, even though it's my favorite part, it's still probably the toughest part. It's probably the people. You never know what you're going to go walk into each and every day. Everyone's got their own personalities, and having to blend them all together is always the challenge. So I would say, I'd still say, even though it's my favorite part, it's still the hardest part, which is the people. Yeah.
It's a challenging aspect. Never gets easier.
No. Sitting down and writing out a menu, that's my happy time. Get to just zone out and be creative, go with whatever's inspiring me at that time. That's easy. It's the people that are always a challenge.
Is it becoming more challenging? The labor market's tight, and is it harder to find good people now?
Yes, it's harder to keep people nowadays. It seems like.
Why do you lose them? What do they do? Are they getting?
It's just there's more of a demand for higher talent, and like right now, and so everyone is going after the same guy, and it's just really driving the market up. And then it's hard to balance of kitchen budget and to keep people happy. So that's just where we're at right now. So
yeah. What changes have you guys have to make to adapt to that?
Better training from within. I like to promote from within. So the dish guy, he's with us from the beginning. Start him off with an entry-level prep or salad station, teach him how to do that, and have him work his way up. That's the best way to prevent that kind of turnover. They'll stay with you longer, I feel, and they know the company because they've been with them longer, and it's easier to hire a new dish guy than it is to find a 16-hour grill guy, $16 an hour grill guy, So.
Yeah, that's a good point. And plus, you're part of a growing organization. You've got so it gives a lot of opportunity, I would think, for folks that have some tenure there. Then, as you guys keep growing, they get more opportunities for additional responsibilities and the benefits that come along with that.
Exactly, and the other guys see it too. If I'm promoting this guy left and right, because he's doing a great job. They see that I'm willing to do that, and hopefully it drives everyone else to do that as well. So
yeah, for sure, man. Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I want to respect your time, but it's very clear to me that you truly, authentically, sincerely enjoy what you do, and that comes across wholeheartedly in conversation with you. So it's fun to hear that, man. It's always nice to find somebody that truly has a passion for what they do and enjoys, every aspect of it. So yeah, absolutely. And y'all are doing great work down there, and we just, I really admire what y'all are doing, and we're stoked to serve y'all, and just appreciate you taking the time out of the day to talk. And I know a lot of people that listen to this will learn a lot and be inspired, man. That's what we're trying to do. So I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, John. Hey, have a good one. I'm around anytime if you ever need anything.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.